With school coming around the corner, many residents are questioning what policies are set in place when it comes to the pandemic. We spoke with the Buffalo Trail Public School Division on what changes and restrictions they have planned.
Joining us for Primetime Local News is Rayanne Holian, the Superintendent for Buffalo Trail Public School Division. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today.
Well, thank you very much, Shelby. We're so excited to welcome our students back to the new school year. It's great to be able to talk to you.
We really wanted to speak on the school's policy plan for when kids get back in class soon here. What mask policy is in place for students?
That's a great question. So currently we are following the Alberta education guidelines that came out at the end of June, and we're strongly recommending again the use of masks within our schools. Um, Alberta education will have new guidelines come out next week, so there may be a change in that procedure.
And when it comes to vaccinations, will students need to have proof to show that they've been vaccinated?
No, there is no proof of vaccination in our schools. We want to ensure that all students and families know that, and we will do what we can to keep everybody safe, knowing that some are vaccinated and some are not.
Now, if it ever does come to an unfortunate time when there is a positive case in the school, what policy will schools have to stop the spread and how will it be handled?
That's a good question. So we do know that Alberta Education and Alberta Health has indicated that they would walk us through their new procedure when that happens. But we do know that they will be testing symptomatic people. There will be follow-up on cases. And we do know that our staff and our students are very well versed at learning at home. And if that happened, we anticipate that classrooms will be learning at home for a period of time as well.
So there will be options for online learning for students that have to quarantine so they can keep in touch with what's being taught in the classrooms.
Yes. So what happened last year, if students had to stay at home in self-isolation, if there was one or two in a classroom, it looked very much like if somebody was sick on a normal year. However, lots of what we saw was an entire classroom at home learning and the teacher, doing that regularly scheduled lesson online and the follow-up homework that would be with that. Students and parents need to be assured that it will look similar to last year if that was to happen. And if people are choosing just an online option for all of year or first semester, we do have students online and they could register and the same as last year and do learning at home for that period of time.
Are there any kinds of changes for this year that BTPS has planned for school coming back with all the regulations besides all the policies that we just discussed?
Yeah, well, that's a great question because we really do want to reassure our families and our students that it's safe to come back to school. So we've put in place some of the similar procedures as we handled last year. So we have enhanced cleaning throughout the year. We met with our facility team and they're meeting with our custodians. So throughout the day, we will have people coming in and cleaning all those high touch areas. We have seating plans on our buses. Our schools will be cohorting students, so there's not large numbers in the hallways and large numbers outside together gathering at recess. And, we'll just make sure that we're doing everything we can with our procedures to mitigate the risk of spreading COVID.
Is there anything else you want to add for people to know about that we missed out on?
Well, school starts in Buffalo Trail on September 1st, and our staff, we are very excited to welcome our students back, and we are anticipating an exciting year for our students with learning, and we just can't wait to welcome them back into our schools.
Now that harvest has begun for farmers in Alberta and Saskatchewan, drivers can expect to come across more farm equipment on highways and rural roads. SGI is reminding drivers how to prevent collisions. Whenever you encounter farm equipment on the roads, there are a few safety precautions you can take to avoid incidents while also reminding yourself to be patient around these vehicles.
Understanding that those pieces of equipment are going to be on the roads now in higher frequency at this time of year. Exercise that patience, slow down because they're going to be traveling between 10 and 40 kilometers per hour. Only pass when it's safe to do so. Stay out of that farmer's blind spots, which might be bigger. Understanding that that equipment is large, wider, longer. So take that into account if you do pull out to pass.
When there are collisions between farm vehicles and drivers, it is more common for injuries or fatalities to occur. McMurtry adds that over the past 5 years, there has been close to 100 collisions between these vehicles.
That works out to just under an average of 20 collisions per year. And the interesting thing is they can happen in any month. The highest number happens between June and October, of course, when it's most active. But we do see these collisions reported in every single month of the year if you look back over the past 5 years. So the fact is, though, this time of year we're going to be seeing more of them.
Just like other vehicles, there is also rules that farmers have to follow when they are driving their farm equipment.
There are certain highways that they're not allowed to travel on without a permit and escorts. There are rules as far as the type of markings and reflective equipment, signage and reflectors for particular vehicles.
More safety tips and rules are available on the Government of Saskatchewan's website. The town of Wainwright has recently been recognized for being the most resilient municipality in the province. Jace Mackey spoke with the town's mayor about the honor and priorities moving forward.
Smart Towns has compiled a list of the top 5 most resilient municipalities across Alberta, and the town of Wainwright has taken home that top spot as the most resilient municipality in Alberta. Well, joining me to talk a little bit more about this is the mayor of Wainwright, Brian Bitham. Thank you so much for taking some time to talk with me. First of all, Mr. Mayor, what kind of metrics went into this award, this decision?
I didn't really dive into that a lot. Of course, being in the mayor role, all I want to know is how good we are and how we got there. But a lot of the metrics are due to financial. It's how much money you have in the bank, how much debt you have, how many projects you've got on the go. So I believe there was up 15 financial metrics, and they average them all out, and whoever has the best average overall comes out on top. So that's where we ended up.
Now, in 2016 and 2018, Wainwright was also found to have the lowest cost of living out of 25 different municipalities across Alberta. So how important is that to be able to showcase as Wainwright being a community that not only just individuals, but also businesses can come and be successful in?
Oh, that's very important. I think 2016, 2018, when they did those surveys, and it wouldn't surprise me if we would win again, but they haven't done a survey since then. But that's very important, as is this latest most resilient, because business want to come to a community where they're going to have longevity. And this one especially, cost of living in that is very good when a business is coming, but this tops it all off because they know when they come here, there's a chance there's going to be a good economic long-term rewards for them.
So obviously Wainwright's recognized as the #1 most resilient municipality in Alberta. What kind of stuff do you think contributed to that from different decisions council has made over the past few years?
I like how you put that in decisions council has made, but in honesty, it's probably got a lot more to do with our administration and our management team. They kind of keep us on the straight and narrow, and they make sure we don't dive in and spend all our money on projects that we want to do instead of looking at the long-term picture and waiting for grants. We've been very lucky in our administration slapping our hands and say, let's just hold on that, and maybe a grant will come up and we'll do it at that time. So we've got some really good grants over the last few years, and we've been able to do some major projects. So while I'd like to say it's all mayor and council, I'd have to say it's mostly administration and the employees and staff we have looking after their budgets.
Now, obviously, over the past few years during COVID, things have been difficult for a lot of municipalities across the province. But how is Wainwright doing now that restrictions are lifted and there's a lot more optimism just across the province in general?
I think we're doing okay. We're pretty lucky because we have the 3 pillars. We have the military base, and we have some oil field, and we have some farming. And of course, right now the farmers are hurting because of the dry weather. But the military base has rebounded after COVID, and a lot of our business has rebounded. I don't think we're immune that we did lose a couple of businesses during COVID, and whether they come back remains to be seen. But right now it seems to be very vibrant and on the upswing again. Everybody's got a pretty positive attitude.
So what would be your pitch to people to make Wainwright their home? What's attractive to not only businesses, but also just individuals?
Well, I think just these recognitions, of course. If I'm pitching the place, well, it's a great place because of the three pillars I talked about. If you want to meet a lot of different people, there's the military out there. A lot of them move and a lot of them stay there. In fact, we have 3 British colonels that came with the British Army to train and they retired here. So that really says something about the community. And we're super friendly. And of course, the cost of living, when we see those kind of figures come out where we're the lowest cost of living, that's very attractive.
So there's a municipal election coming up across Alberta in October. Are you going to be running again in October?
No, I'm done. I'm out of here. I've spent 2 terms as mayor, which is, since they changed it to 4 years, that's 8 terms. But I was also on council for 15 years prior to that. So I made the decision quite a while ago that it's time to fully retire, step back, and let some new ideas in.
So after being on being mayor for 2 terms, what are some of the things that you're most proud about?
Well, of course, these things I'm most proud about are our community resilience and our recognition we're getting from some of these surveys. But I'm also pretty proud about some of those $20 million project we did on stormwater without having to borrow hardly any money. Pretty proud that we stood alone in resilience and we didn't lose a lot of businesses during COVID. We kept everything friendly. I did almost weekly videos to keep everything going and keep everything positive and just pulling through, and some of the major projects we've been able to do, and such a great staff that we keep.
Now, when we get closer to those municipal elections, we'll be covering some of the ones around our region. But what do you think for the next mayor and council in Wainwright? What are going to be some of the biggest things that they need to be focusing on in the next term?
Well, I think there again, it's going to be debt is going to be number one, because the government, the provincial government and the federal government are cutting grants and cutting taxes in lieu, and we're getting way less money from them. So I've probably been around in a fortunate time where we got lots of grants. Now I don't think those are going to be there. And we have some pretty major projects yet, some infrastructure projects yet to do. And it's going to be finding out how to do them and still retaining our cost of living where it's affordable.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking some time to talk with me, and congratulations again on this honor.
Yeah, anytime. And thanks for getting a hold of us.
Now Connor Chan will take a first look at your Thursday weather.
All right, thanks very much, Jasmine. As we take a look right now, still sitting at cooler temperatures. Saw a little bit of cloud coverage, kind of looked ominous in some areas from our newsroom, and one half looked like it was good about to thunderstorm. The other half looked pretty sunny for the most part, but the winds definitely died down. As you can see, northwest kilometer-an-hour winds coming in just shy of 20 kilometers an hour. So 22 is what we're sitting at right now. 23 degrees in the Vermilion, Marwayne, Wainwright, and Provost areas. 21 up in the St. Paul, Bonnyville areas as well. 19 for Cold Lake and in Lac La Biche. 21 in Say Walberg and Meadow Lake with 19 degrees in Green Lake. 17 for Alacross, and then 23 all the way out in Maidstone and North Battleford areas as well. Much calmer today. A little bit of rain. Precipitation still kind of moving its way through eastern bound there, as we did talk about that yesterday, how a lot of that was mostly in the Saskatoon, Prince Albert areas, and a little bit of cloud coverage following that on top of that as well. Looking ahead to temperatures overnight, North Battleford also, we're going to continue to see some pretty cooler temperatures overnight as we're getting to those much cooler lows as we are getting inching closer towards the fall. 7 degrees overnight in North Battleford, 28 degrees for tomorrow. So things are definitely going to start to heat up for tomorrow as we're going to see temperatures rise quite a bit and quite a bit higher numbers here as well. 9 degrees overnight in Cold Lake with 29 for tomorrow as the daytime high. And then for us here in Lloydminster, 10 degrees overnight with 29 is our expected daytime high for tomorrow. So things are definitely going to start to heat up. We may see that get up to over 30 degrees for tomorrow. So here's a look at what we could see for the next weekend, for the weekend here, 34 expected on Saturday, and then going into Sunday, 33 is the expected temperature there. So we're definitely well above our seasonal averages for this time of year. Could be back into a heat warning once again, probably starting maybe tomorrow or maybe even heading into Saturday. But as we get into the later weeks, which I'll show later on into the 7-day forecast, things are definitely going to start to go back to the August normals. That is a look at your weather for now. We'll have more primetime local news coming up after the break.
A Marwayne woman is in the midst of uncovering details about her farm's history, including a historic barn. Jillian Coate has the story.
A century-old barn and the return of an original bloodline have been Shania Tingley's passion project for the past 11 years. Her family purchased the farm just outside of Marwayne in 2010 and decided that they needed to bring a piece of history back to the farm.
So we found the horses actually at Battle River Ranch, and they were great to work with. I found actual registries on the computer of some of the horses that were here. And so she had the bloodline, and we purchased one that is full, and then we just have another one that was a half sister because they were some of the closest matches in that bunch for that year.
They purchased Jezebel and Amethyst in 2016, and Tingley estimates they are 6 or 7 generations removed from the horses who originally called this barn home.
They sold off the horses when they sold this entire farm, and then the Jacobson brothers bought it. Then there was another guy that bought it, and then we got it after. So once when they sold the horses first, moved into Marwayne, then they ended up selling the farm, and the horses haven't been back here since we came along.
Tingley's grandfather worked for the farm's original owner, William Giles. She has been in contact with 2 of Giles's sons.
Dad and I sat down and we found Albert Horner's. We found some of his horses he was linked to Giles as well. We found some of those horses, and then it just kind of progressed. I think I talked about 5 different people.
Tingley has since been tracking down anyone with a connection to the farm with the hope of celebrating the farm's history and helping save the 102-year-old barn.
They were such a big part of the community, and everybody's just kind of forgot. They see the barn, now they see the horses, now people are starting to clue in, but I feel like there needs to be one big step in trying to get this before it completely goes over.
Applications to grant historical status for the barn have been unsuccessful thus far.
We want to rebuild it or restore it, but funding-wise, other than grants, we don't have the money to do it. We don't have the time to do it.
Tingley has set up a Facebook page for the barn called W. Giles Historical Barn and is looking for anyone who is interested in helping out with the barn or the farm's history to reach out. Jillian Code, Primetime Local News.
Now we'll take a look at your egg prices. After picking up their first gold medal in women's soccer at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, the Canadian women's soccer team is making an impact at the local level.
I hope it fills passion for a lot of these young players and wants them to develop and progress and continue to play because, man, possibilities are endless.
The team's win has sparked enthusiasm towards the sport. Matt Lack, a former Vancouver Whitecaps Academy coach, is a big believer in dreaming big and following those dreams.
The last player that scored, Julia Grosso, man, I coached her when I was in Vancouver. I was coaching with the Whitecaps. I coached 3 or 4 of these players, like in the youth program, 3-4 years ago when they were 16, 17 years old. I coached them in the Whitecaps Academy, and man, like now look at them. It's like now she scored the winning goal in a penalty shootout to win gold for her country. Like that's nuts.
Malak also added he believes the overall skill within the country is improving.
The number of players that are moving on and playing in these big European teams, both in the men and the women's side, it's more and more achievable as time moves on, or as Canada grows as a soccer nation.
Now Connor Chan will take another look at your weather forecast.
All right, thanks very much, Jasmine. Seeing right now, we're starting to get that warm air making its way back into some parts into Alberta and to Saskatchewan as well. And things are definitely going to start to heat up for tomorrow as we're going to see a lot of high pressure systems coming through parts of Alberta and Saskatchewan as we're going to see temperatures getting into those 30-degree days throughout Friday as well as into Sunday. And then we'll be back to the normal August temperatures for the rest of the week. Taking a look right now, though, it's still sitting around 21 for us here in Lloydminster. A little bit warmer as we go out west, 25 in Red Deer as well as as in Edson, 28 degrees in Jasper, 24 for Whitecourt and Rocky Mountain House, 23 in Saskatoon right now with 19 for Prince Albert, as well as an 18 in Melfort with 22 in North Battleford, and then 23 degrees in Saskatoon. Looking up to the northern parts of Saskatchewan, 17 for the Losh for the Buffalo Arrows, Uranium City, and Stony Rapids areas. The Losh sitting at 19 degrees with 16s there. We see in Flin Flon, South End, and in La Ronge as well. A little bit warmer in the northern Alberta areas. Really warm in Grand Prairie as that system starting to take its toll there in Grand Prairie at 29 degrees, 22 for Slave Lake, 24 in Peace River, and then 23 in High Level. Now southern Alberta still seeing fairly warm temperatures. As you can see, 27 for that Lethbridge area, 26 in Medicine Hat, and then 25 for the Banff, Coronation, and Calgary areas as well. Moose Jaw and Swift Current, Kindersley sitting at 23 as well, with 21 in Regina, 20 degrees in Yorkton, and then 22 out in Estevan. A little bit cooler as we make our way out east into the Manitoba areas at 18 degrees in Winnipeg, and it's a little bit warmer in those Quebec and Toronto areas as well, with 29 for them and 28 in Quebec City. And then of course the Maritime sitting at some cooler temperatures in St. John's at 14, and then 24 out in Halifax. Looking into Vancouver, 26 is what we're seeing right now currently on the map, and then 19 up in the Northwest Territories in Yellowknife and in Whitehorse as well. Now tomorrow, like I said before and I said earlier, into the weather hits, we are going to see things start to get a little bit warmer and go up quite a bit from some areas that have seen a little bit just shy of 20 degrees or just over 20 degrees for the last few days. 29 expected for us here at Lloydminster. We could see that number get into the 30-degree range there. We'll see 31 in the Provost, Wainwright, and Vermilion areas, 30 for Marwayne and St. Paul, 29 in Cold Lake, Pierceland, and in Bonnyville, 31 for Edmonton tomorrow, 28 North Battleford with 30 degrees in both the Maidstone and Macklin areas. And looking ahead across the next 7 days, 34 on Saturday, 33 on Sunday. Enjoy this warm weather while you can, because it's not going to stick around, and it may not come back for a long time here as we get ready into the mid-August areas here. So 21 on Monday, 19 degrees on Tuesday, 22 on Wednesday, and then 21 degrees on Thursday. Like I said, we'll start to get back to those August averages. That is a look at your weather for now. We'll have more primetime local news coming up after the break.
Stephanie Mosier, the Senior Director of Community for Western Canada with the MS Society of Canada, joins us today here on Primetime Local News. We're talking about the annual Burgers to Beat MS Day, which is coming up really soon in partnership with A&W. Stephanie, tell us what the day is all about.
Yeah, so coming up on August 19th is our annual Burgers to Beat MS campaign. This is a chance to really unite Canadians coast to coast to support the MS Society of Canada. The campaign's been going on for the last 13 years and has raised over $16 million for the MS Society. It's actually one of our largest corporate fundraisers that we do. And so people can take part by going to their local A&W or ordering through the mobile app on August 19th. Purchase a Teen Burger, and $2 from every Teen Burger will go back to the MS Society.
Now, last year with COVID, it obviously was takeout burgers to beat MS because of the pandemic. So are things going to slightly go back to normal with all the festivities at local A&Ws across Canada?
Well, we would really love to be back in normal because we know what that means so much to the franchisee and the community. We are encouraging people to, if they feel comfortable, visit their local A&W indoors or to order through the drive-through. They can also use the A&W mobile app or a third-party delivery service like an Uber Eats, Skip the Dishes, that type of thing to order.
Now, one of the most interesting things I found out about this was that MS has been labeled as Canada's disease because of the many people that are diagnosed with it here in the country. Why do you think Canada has that title?
Yeah, 90,000 Canadians live with MS, so about 1 in 400 Canadians. We really don't know the answer to why Canada has one of the highest rates of MS, and that's why continuing to fund research through campaigns like Burgers to Beat MS is really important, so we can discover what those risk factors are and hopefully eventually prevent MS so that no more people are diagnosed.
With all the money that's been raised over the past couple of years with this event, what does the money go towards ultimately?
Yeah, so over the last 13 years, we have raised $16 million through the campaign, which is pretty incredible. Our goal this year is 1.5 million, and funding from that campaign is really, really critical for us to deliver on our mission. So funds raised not only go to support MS research, so MS research looking at advancing treatment and care, developing more therapies for people living with MS, as well as, like I just touched on, hoping to look at some of those risk factors to prevent MS eventually. From a programming point of view, the pandemic has been really challenging for individuals living with MS, really feeling that social isolation. So it's really important that we can continue that connection. We've been able to deliver a number of our wellness programs virtually. We've held education conferences or webinars virtually that people have been able to connect into. And we also have our MS Navigator service, which is really a hub of information. People can call, they can visit our website, or there's also a live chat option. And that's where people can call and get information and support. It's really, really critical for those, especially who are newly diagnosed.
Another thing that maybe some people don't know is that MS does affect not only older people, but also younger people as well, correct?
Yeah, it's one of the most common neurological diseases impacting Canadians 20 to 49, which is when they're typically diagnosed. And so when you think about that age range, it's really people that are possibly entering the workforce, or maybe in their 30s, they're in the prime of their career, they're getting married, they're starting families. So thinking about a diagnosis like MS, which is quite unpredictable and you just don't know what's going to happen. MS is also quite episodic, so symptoms can come and go. So yeah, it would be really scary. And I think, being young and not knowing what that future holds, it's quite a critical time in your life.
Now, if people unfortunately can't make the day and still want to help out the MS Society of Canada, how can they do so? Or if they just want to learn more information?
Yeah, so between now and August 19th, if you're visiting a local A&W, or I think even through the mobile app, you can round up your bill. And so rounding up your bill, those donations will go back to the MS Society. If you want to just help us to generate awareness, that would be amazing. Take a burger selfie on the day if you're in the restaurant holding your burger. That's my favorite thing to do. And you can use the hashtag burgers to beat MS. So if people want to donate, the website is burgers2beatms.ca. And you can also find more information on the mssociety.ca website as well.
Stephanie, I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much for joining us. August 19th, make sure you go out to the local A&Ws here in Lloydminster. You can go out and buy a team burger to help beat MS. Stephanie, thank you so much.
Yeah, really nice to meet you, Connor. Thanks so much. Take care.
I'm joined here with Linnell Freeston with the Connect Club of Lloydminster. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, the club's annual Glow Run is the recipient of the Bill Skelly Award for the second year in a row. What does this award represent?
So basically, what this award represents is it's an award that's done through Team Canada. And every year, each district, which is essentially a province, gets one recipient of the award. And as you mentioned, we're lucky enough, this is the second year in a row that we've received the award for our club. And the award is named after Bill Skelly, who's a kinsman who's credited with starting the connection between Came Canada and CF Canada. And so it's basically people submit, different clubs submit things that they've done to raise funds for cystic fibrosis, since it's one of our major partners. And that goes to a committee, and the committee decides who the recipients are. And this year it was our Glow Run.
And how did the club feel to get this the second year in a row?
It's pretty awesome, that's for sure. It's nice to, have that kind of, not that we need recognition necessarily for everything that we do. It's not why we do what we do, but, it helps to, the recognition helps to, get kin and cystic fibrosis, out in the community, and just raise awareness of everything that's going on, especially with the Trikafta being approved in Canada, but there's still a long way to go with that.
And why do you personally believe that the annual Glow Run deserved to be the recipient for this?
Well, it's such a fun thing to do. I've been involved with it for the last probably about 6 years now. It's been going on since September of 2015. when our club started it in memory of a member of our club who lost her battle with cystic fibrosis. And it's just such a fun time. Everybody gets out, and dresses up, in whatever costumes they want to, if they want to go that way, glow gear. Obviously this year we turned it virtual because we couldn't have our in-person run. So we turned it into a snow glow run this year. And we did it in January of 2021 instead of September of 2020. And the community came out and supported us once again, and we're so grateful for that. And we're hoping to, continue it on and continue the legacy.
And what sorts of challenges did the Connect Club go through this year?
Well, there were the obvious challenges of not being able to, get together in person or do some of the, fundraising that we had hoped to be able to do. But we persevered, and we were able to find other ways to do, to raise funds for, every thing that we wanted to donate to, every very worthwhile cause. We really focused on service as well this last year, or every month we partnered with a community partner to help them out in some way or other.
Now, does the club have any future plans now after receiving this award?
Absolutely, we're not done yet. Stay tuned to our Facebook pages, and we've got lots of great ideas coming up for this current year. We're kind of brainstorming and spitballing a couple of new ideas right now, as well as we're hoping to bring back some of our old ones, like the Glow Run, and possibly our Rib Fest and our wing eating competitions. Were a couple of the new things that we brought in last year. So yeah, watch this space. We're going to be busy.
Perfect. Well, once again, thank you so much for joining me today, Linnell, and congratulations on receiving this award a second year in a row.
No problem. Thank you very much for having me on.
Thank you for joining us on Primetime Local News. Have a great night.